So good evening, everyone. Welcome to our Healthy Hangout tonight. I'm Mitzi, and for those of you who are new to our call, welcome. And for those of you who are here more than one time and have come back, we're so happy to have you here. Tonight is going to be a little bit different. We're going to just really do a coach, ask the coach, like a Q&A. So for clients to be able to just ask ask us coaches questions about whatever you want. Before we actually start, and I'll probably say something again before we end, because I usually put a link to the Habits of Health call that's Wednesday nights at 8:30 in our chat. And many of you, everybody should have gotten an email and a text saying that the Habits of Health call is not going to be happening. So not just tonight, but they've just kind of suspended them for, and I think that what's really so wonderful is that we have this community here for our Healthy Hangout that is small and very intimate, where we get to know each other. We see each other week after week. We see the same faces, and we see what we're posting in Health and Healthy Friends. And so we are a community, and not having the Habits of Health, which has like 3,000 people on, you don't see them, it's okay. We have our group here, and it's a really wonderful group. We're so supportive of each other in Healthy Friends. You see everybody trying to uplift each other. It's a wonderful, wonderful community. So I just wanted to just say that. So here we are. We'll be here every Wednesday at 8 o'clock Eastern, 5 o'clock Pacific time, and all the times in between. And so keep joining us and take advantage of being and just feel a part of this wonderful, wonderful, uplifting, special community. So having said that.
Hi, can I add something?
Absolutely, Chuck.
Thank you, Mitzi. So everything you said was spot on. The other thing is, all of the Wednesday night calls that the national call they were doing are all recorded. All of the 26 elements are already pre-recorded, and you can find them on the YouTube channel. So they were simply repeating those this year, but they've recorded them all. So you're not really missing anything. You can watch them whenever you want to watch them.
Absolutely. And I think that they also sent out the link to that in the email, or at least in the text as well, so that you've got the links to those, and we can put it in Healthy Hangouts and Healthy Friends as well, the link to the elements, so that you'll have that. So I'll make sure that gets put into Healthy Friends. So thank you so much, Chuck, for that. So let's kick it off. Let's see if does anyone have a question that they want to start us off with. Any type of question you want to ask Coach. Just wait a minute, Marianne, your mouth is going, but you're muted. I can see you're trying to unmute. Let's see if I can. Let me see.
Okay, I found it. You hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. Being this is my day one, I was going through my book, and I probably would have addressed this with you, Mitzi, later on tonight when we talk. But what is Flavors of Home?
So Flavors from Home are all-inclusive lean and green meals. So if you buy Flavors from Home, it's a total lean and green meal. And they're really great because you can heat them up. If you're in a hurry, you don't have time to cook, it's really great to have those on hand, especially when you're in a hurry. And you don't really feel like you have time to cook. So it's not something that you might want to have every night just to avoid cooking, but it's to have a few on hand can be really, really helpful.
So do you order that when you order your fuelings? Is that it?
Yes.
Okay. Yep. Okay. All right, I have one other question. Tonight, being my first night, I selected scallops as my entree, which was the leanest portion of protein that I could have, and so therefore I could use two fats. And I sauteed them in a little olive oil and a little bit of butter. However, that didn't leave me anything left to put on my salad in terms of like a little dressing. So I was curious as what other solutions might have, because the scallops, you almost have to utilize oil or butter, whatever, in order to saute them. So if there's anybody out there who knows what you can put on your salad when you've got, all your fats have been used up.
I have some thoughts, but does anyone else want to speak up?
And they made it all the way up.
I've stumped everybody.
No, so what I would do in that case is I use like balsamic vinegar,
Okay,
which is a condiment, not a
Right.
healthy fat. So that would be.
that would be, okay, that's very helpful to know that. Okay.
I have used a blackberry balsamic vinegar.
Oh.
That's really good. I don't know the grocery stores. I've not really looked for it, but some of the stores that are just oil, olive oil, and
Oh.
vinegar, that
Okay,
are more local, sell them. So that's a thought that I would do.
okay. Yeah, we have a Trader Joe's out here. I'm not sure how far Trader Joe's extends in the East Coast or whatever, but they usually carry a lot of different products like that. So that'd probably be my best bet to check them out. So thank you. That sounds even better yet.
And another suggestion I had would just be to just to make it really specific is maybe do your salads only with something that you weren't going to use the healthy fats for, and then you do like steamed veggies with your scallops, just to switch it
Yeah.
up every once in a while.
Yeah. But I did steam some broccoli, and I did have my salad, and as Missy had told me, to put my protein on top of my salad. However,
Yes.
since I used my two fats to make my scallops, I was sort of at a loss, and the salad
Yeah.
tasted a little bland tonight. So, but anyway, yes, I did do some steamed veggies. So thank you.
I found that using a nonstick skillet to saute, that I don't
Yes.
use really very much.
Anything at all. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay, and I did see somewhere that they say there's butter buds and things like that you can use. Sometimes the scallops don't do well. I did use a nonstick pan, but I don't know if it's scallops itself, it doesn't lend itself well without having some sort of lubricant to keep it going. So, but I'll keep trying.
That is great. Somebody else have a question that they want to ask? I'm gonna.
So I had a question about the salad dressing and stuff. I did pick up this brand recently this weekend, like Walden Farms. It has like sugar-free balsamic vinegar, a good selection of like salad dressings that are sugar-free, kind of like in a diabetic area of the grocery store. Is that
Yeah, a lot of
preferred?
a lot of us use Walden Farms. It's one of the go-tos, actually.
Okay.
It's really good.
Who else has a question?
Jenna, I was just going to mention, I like those G. Hughes salad dressings too, if you're looking for something different.
Okay. G. Hughes.
So I can seed it with a question, and I'll answer it, that most of my clients ask, and give other people a chance to think of their questions. So one of the biggest is, how do I not rebound once I get to my goal? And we did a whole presentation on this, I think in March, on transitioning properly, but transitioning is one of the key elements, and your coach will walk you through the transition. So please stay engaged with your coach through the transition. But when you're in your either 5 and 1 or 4-2 and 1, but you're in your mild fat burn, you want to, and you've hit your goal, you work with your coach and you start your transition, you follow that transition exactly as it is. And it really gets you to the point where you're in your optimization phase after that, or what other programs may call maintenance, but you're always optimizing at that point. One of my core beliefs is everything in moderation at this point. I mean, I did this program 3.5 years ago, and have kept the weight off the whole time. So 40 pounds, 4 months, 3.5 years ago, and have kept it off. Staying in touch with your coach afterwards. It doesn't matter if you're ordering or you're not ordering. Please stay in touch with your coach. If you're somehow gaining for whatever reason, that's the most important time to call your coach, not the time to be ashamed to call your coach. So don't hide yourself under a rock. Reach out to your coach. They're there to support you, not to judge you. Okay. And then remember that you're developing habits during your weight loss phase and through the transition phase. You're not on a diet. These habits stay with you, right? You're going to eat 6 times a day. You're going to eat 6 small meals. You won't necessarily be eating 5 fuelings every day, right? But you're learning how to make a lean and green, and you'll have roughly two of those every day, and you'll be having healthy snacks in between, and not eating the junk food, and you'll have some of those other things in moderation, and everything will be fine. So those are my recommendations. I don't know if other coaches have other suggestions on how to not rebound.
So I would
I
just
have a
add,
question.
I would just add just one more thing, and then Kim, I would add that you should really look at element 14 and element 15 in the life book. That will help you with the transition. Element 14, element 15, Dr. A really outlines how to start eating healthy for life. And he's got the color charts and what choices to make when you go to the grocery store. And that is really something that would be helpful. And also then, watch the videos that are available to you that we've got as well. But Chuck, that was really great.
No, that's great. Great addition. Thank you.
Thank
I
you.
just want to echo what Chuck said about this is not a diet. And if you have that mentality of it's a diet and then I'm going to stop, just like I started, it's not. It's learning a different way of eating, a different way of thinking about food, and it's for life. It's the fuelings themselves, the bars and the shakes and the whatnot are not for life, but the habits, the patterns are.
Well said.
That's great, Jada. Kim, you had a question?
I did actually, regarding snacks. Tell me again, I just want some clarification on what is sort of allowed with snacks. I was under the impression that it was just periodic. It wouldn't be an everyday snack. It would be once in a while when it's needed. Is that true?
Yeah, so I'll take it, Mitzi. So the snacks are optional snacks, and they're optional because you don't have to have it every day. If you want it or need it, I recommend you have it. And if you don't want it and don't need it, don't have it. There's an outline of some of the, Optavia obviously has some healthy snacks, but there's some really good choices like celery, sugar-free popsicles, sugar-free Jell-O, almonds, pistachios, in very specific quantities, and pickles, 2 pickle spears, and they're great to hold you over, or for that moment where you're between fuelings, and you just feel like you need something, or you're trying to replace, for me, I had a really bad habit of eating a bowl of potato chips on the couch every night. And I knew I couldn't just go cold turkey. That just wasn't going to work for me. So I switched it to 20 pistachios. And I still have 20 pistachios here and there, right? But I don't have the bowl of potato chips anymore. So that was an important way for me to use my healthy snack. And it wasn't because I was hungry. it was a habit, and I knew I had to change the habit, but I couldn't totally give up the habit.
Can I say something?
Sure.
So I think too, like at the beginning, the optional snack, you know, at the beginning when you're just starting, you're like so worried you're going to be hungry, you know, so you have that optional snack, you know, the 3 stalks of celery or whatever it is, you know, it's like part of the day, or the sugar-free Jello. But what I found was eventually when you get into fat burning and you're not hungry, it's just another thing to think about. So most people just don't need it. You know what I mean? Because if you're in fat burning, you shouldn't really be hungry until it's time to eat. You just have to make sure you go through that list. You know, it's just what's offered, not just any snack. You know, it's those few, the things Chuck was mentioning.
Yep.
But I think eventually you'll find if you're eating 6 times a day, like you're busy and eating enough, you're busy enough eating all day, you may not need that.
I think
Agreed.
part of what Chuck said is really important too, and what Amy said, is really if you start to look and see why you're eating why you think you want the optional snack, are you habit eating? Are you someone who, when you sit down and on the couch and you're going to put the TV on or do something like that, that you automatically feel you have to have something to eat? Like when you go to the movies, that you feel like you have to have the popcorn or whatever. So are some of these things just have that habit of eating versus the need for food because you're really hungry? Or is there an emotional component to why you want to grab for that snack? So it's kind of starting to think about and internalizing why are you doing that? What's kind of pulling you towards that? And when you can start to recognize what that is, it's better chance that you're going to, you know, slow yourself down and maybe not have that optional snack because you don't need it. And you say, oh, wait a minute, this is just habit. I don't need this habit. I can move on. So, Kathy, you're unmuted. Do you have a question or comment?
Oh, no, I was just sitting here quietly.
Oh, okay.
Well, I do have an unusual thing, but I was waiting for my coach to get back from Greece to ask her.
Okay.
I mean, I can ask you if you want, but I have kept 20 pounds off now for, I don't know, 2 or 3 months. And now I have gotten Invisalign and I can't eat all the time. And I'm wondering, you know, you have to brush your teeth every time. And it's just, how do you get all the food in is the problem and not go back to your old habits. That's my problem.
Wow.
That's a tough one, isn't it? Do you
Yeah.
eat?
Yeah,
It will be good when Jen gets back from Greece.
drink the shakes.
Yeah, I've been eating a meal and a shake at the same time, kind of, is what I've been doing.
I just got braces too, and I have the same problem.
Good. I'm glad somebody else has that problem.
Biting into those crispy bars have been painful, so I've been doing shakes, and they get stuck in my teeth.
Yeah. So, you know, somebody shared this on one of the Healthy Hangouts recently, or in Healthy Friends, mixing one of the chocolate shakes with one of the mint chocolate bars and blending it in the Magic Bullet or NutriBullet or whatever. And then you have 2 fuelings and you use them as 2 fuelings.
Right.
But then you're kind of drinking the crispy bar and you know, it's not like you're chewing into it with braces.
Right.
So that's another, you know, there's little tips and tricks like that you can.
But I agree, it is a lifestyle change. I'm not going back and eating the junk that I used to. I agree, it's not a diet, it's a lifestyle change. So
Good.
I like that.
Does anyone else have other questions?
I have one that I get a lot that I can ask for the group. And it's kind of about just the importance of weighing and measuring and why on the Lean and Green. And I know we talk about this a lot, but what really happens if you just kind of eyeball it or treat it as just a healthy meal? Well, the thing with the Lean and Green, it's a very specific meal for a reason. And the reason is because the 5-in-1 is a proprietary program. There's nothing like it. You can't compare it to ketogenic or, Mediterranean. There's nothing else specifically that will provide the results that the 5-in-1 will. And so that's why they've written it like the way they do, a formula, because it has been tested and proven to work in multiple populations, keeping the carbs and the proteins at just the right amount to be able to achieve that mild dietary ketosis. So whereas, we always want to look at like progress over perfection. Yes, yes, yes. As a coach, progress over perfection. However, if you do want to get the most bang for your buck, and want to ensure a fat burn, weighing and measuring is key, because that's where you'll be able to guarantee that your body is burning fat for energy. And that's super important, because otherwise it might be more like just a calorie restriction. And you might not get the full benefit. You might feel hungry. You might not feel as much energy. And it's impossible. I don't know a single soul who can look at a piece of meat and say that's 6.5 ounces. It's impossible. So that's why it's important to pay attention to, and often we would do too little. We would do too little protein because it is a large meal. So getting enough of that. If you want to be really specific, there is a veggie conversion chart. You can search it, vegetable conversion chart Optavia, and it will give you, it's a PDF you can pull up. It will give you the weights for your veggies, because there is some discrepancy there if you want to get really, really, precise. And so that's really helpful too.
Yeah, I share the vegetable conversion chart with all my clients.
Yep.
It's great, because getting a half a cup of asparagus is really hard to measure in a half a cup. But it's very easy to put on a scale at 2.37 ounces, or whatever the number is.
Who else has a question?
I will bring up a question. I told the group that I was going to probably bring up this question. I'm a nurse. There are some other nurses on here, and y'all know that nothing is sacred in nursing. So, but a lot of folks that I've coached have had, to some degree, some constipation, and it's from a variety of things, but just some things that you can do to kind of alleviate that. So you don't have to hold up your hand and say, oh yeah, that's my question. But what Nutrition Support recommends is taking a digestive enzyme supplement. You can do that. You can choose some of the higher fiber vegetables like the spinach, broccoli, collard greens, just the green leafy vegetables. Water is so important, and a lot of folks that I coach have, that's probably their biggest challenge at first, is getting the water consumption up. But that's going to make a tremendous difference as far as regularity. So that's really important. Incorporating some physical activity in your routine. So many of us have sedentary jobs. We sit a lot. Just moving around a little bit kind of keeps the muscles that are in your digestive system moving. You can incorporate some other sources of fiber. You can use ground or whole flaxseed, citrus cell caplets, or sugar-free Metamucil. You can also, there is a tea that is, it's actually called Smooth Moves. So that should stick in your mind when you get to the grocery store. But it's a natural stimulant that you can use, and it's safe to use on a regular basis. So that's something that it's in like the, usually, sometimes it's in the pharmacy section of a supermarket, but most times it's over with the teas. So you can look for that. Heidi, you have recommended, I guess, for your folks, magnesium, and Nutrition Support doesn't necessarily say, they don't say you can, they don't say you can't, they just don't say. But
It's probably because it's an actual supplement and maybe a little bit more pharmaceutical, but it is the active ingredient in, laxatives.
Mhm.
So, just doing that as a little aid, and I think it's 400 milligrams, typical over the counter. Yeah, but maybe that would be a second layer after trying some of these other things.
Yeah, if you've tried the Smooth Moves tea, you're getting your water in, you've tried some of the food type of things or the Metamucil, and that just doesn't seem to be doing it, then you may try the magnesium.
Thank you, Jada. Such a special topic. Uh,
It's a very important topic.
It
though.
is a very important topic, and we hear about that.
We
So
do.
everybody's reacts differently when, especially when they first start. So
Yes.
we have about 2 minutes left, a minute, 2 minutes left. What other questions do people have?
What about temptation with potato chips?
What?
What about when you have the temptation to eat something that you should be not eat, like potato chips?
She's
have
asking
to-
how to handle those temptations, like
Those
Chuck was saying
cravings.
about the potato chips.
So one is to swap out the
Have to-
temptation for something else like I did. Another is to go back to basics and go back to your why and what your motivation is, and really think about what you're trying to accomplish and how beneficial the program is to you. That's really critical in understanding that. And then there are other options to substitute out as well, like some of the crunchers. So it depends on whether you're feeling that need for crunch, then replace the chips with a bag of crunchers instead as a fueling.
Thank you.
The other is to also go back to element 4, stop, challenge, choose.
Yes.
And to really look and focus on and read about what that's all about. And another one is to lean into your coach and talk about what's going on that is pulling you towards, let's say, the potato chips and the craving, to see if your coach can come up and you can come up with some strategies to guide you to see if there's an emotional eating, and you figure out what the emotion is and how you take yourself away from whatever that emotion might be, or if there might be some other reasons. But I think leaning into your coach is really helpful. Element 4 is really extremely helpful with Dr. A Stop, Challenge, Choose, because that strategy is going to serve all of us for a lifetime because of how really robust that strategy is, and not just in food, but in other aspects of our lives. So that was a really great question. Thank you so much.
If it's helped me to kind of surf the emotion for a few minutes, or the impulse. I don't say, okay, I'm not going to eat that today. I'll say, I'm not going to eat that in the next 10 minutes. And then get myself distracted off to do something else. And a lot of times, 10, 15 minutes, the impulse has passed, the craving has passed. I've contacted my husband, and I did program together. So I would talk to him about, I'd really like to have those Reese cups, but I don't need those Reese cups. And just talking and saying it out loud versus letting it sit in my mind has helped. And just the waiting. I'm not going to do that right now. And that gives time for you to start thinking about your why and some other things that maybe you could do in place of, rather than just acting on that initial impulse.
Exactly. So it's a little bit after 8:30. So we're going to wrap up. Those of you who are coaches, please stay on this Zoom. Those of you that are going to be leaving us, come back next Wednesday for another healthy hangout. We hope this was helpful to you. And of course, if you have more questions, ask your coach. And I'll put what I said in the Healthy Friends. the link towards all the elements and the videos for the elements. So everybody have a really wonderful night. And again, coaches, stay on, and we'll talk to you next week. We'll see you next week. Bye. And I'm going to.
Thank you.